Hello, Brick Sculptors, and welcome back to Brick Sculpt. This is Chris, and today we're going to try something new. You may have noticed in the last month I've been kind of on and off with posting. Part of that's been that work has been just incredibly busy and we've been short-staffed, so I haven't had a lot of time to devote to LEGO. But the other part is just that these builds take a really long time, so I really need to sit down and put a lot of time in it to put together a nice video like my tips, tricks, and techniques videos. So I want to try something new here. I want to do smaller, really detailed builds and kind of talk about some of the techniques in a smaller setting here. Hopefully in doing this I can put these videos out quicker, do more of them, and show you some really cool stuff. I've really gotten into, mostly through doing this channel, into interiors. So I'm going to do something called mini builds. And basically they're all going to be kind of the same format, where I'm going to use a 16 by 16 base plate and build a single room on there. The first mini build I've decided to do is a pet shop. Now, obviously there's been lots of LEGO pet shops before. Most LEGO pet shops I see are either like Friends oriented, where it's, kind of really girly Barbie-esque, or they're just not very realistic. So I wanted to kind of try to step it up and make it look more like a real pet shop. Now again, kind of the point of these mini builds is to do these faster, but this is also a great exercise because if you're building interiors like this to put into an actual city, working on a smaller environment is really helpful. Because if I built this on a full 32 by 32 base plate, I could make a super cool detailed pet shop on that, and maybe I'll do that someday. But it doesn't apply really well to a LEGO city because LEGO City buildings have to be somewhat compact. And a small setting like this, I could easily pop into a LEGO City building. Now, one thing when you do build with this level of detail, the outside of the walls sometimes isn't so pretty. I did white behind the cages so you could see in there a little bit better. But like the fish tank here, oh boy. So you got to be careful where these walls are facing in a city. But lots of cool things you can do here. So let's go and go through some of these techniques and I'll kind of show you what we've got here. First I want to talk about some of the accessories in this room. So number one, I made this little food stand here. And I've done things like this in the past, but nothing exactly like this. So basically I took some more earth tone colors. I got tan, medium nougat, dark orange, and dark tan. And I use those because to me they represent like bags of pet food, dog food, whatever it may be. Put a nice 1x3 sign on top if I was going to keep this around, and which I might pop this into my city in one of the buildings. You could put some actual like vinyl logoing on there, lettering. But they just did kind of two tiers. Now you'll notice I angled these. And one of the cool things with LEGO is you do have a degree of twistability. And if I just line these up straight, it looked like all one brick and it wouldn't look like individual items. So I just kind of twist each individual piece. It does make it tough to put a normal brick down the middle, so I just used a pedestal instead, which actually I think looks better anyway. And it fits right in there, so I could do that second tier. So I got the big bags on the bottom, small bags on top, little base on there, and then just a single jumper. I like to use single jumpers unless I want it in a really nice fixed position, because here I can kind of put this on here, rotate it around, find the angle I like. I can move the base kind of in all kinds of different directions, and so I can really fit it in. If you're trying to make things look super realistic, having things at an angle can be really helpful because you don't always see racks just perfectly aligned. So having a little angle on it gives it a little more detail. Maybe like someone bumped it, and just kind of makes it have a little more personality. Over here on this accessory wall, I did kind of like a dog wall here. Obviously we have a dog in a little cage down here. Little playpen, I should say, not a cage. I gave him a little ball, and there's a little surprise in the back there. Oops. But anyway, doing stuff like this, I've done in a lot of my builds. And a great way to add detail is just using a ton of really small pieces. Sticking with good colors, good realistic colors like sand blue, dark green. I got some dark orange in here. This little bottle, I don't know, maybe it's shampoo or some sort of dog grooming product. I made kind of orange, so it just kind of looked a little bit more like they got some marketing material on there. A little stack of towels here. The way I do these, I use jumper plates. If it's not on like a narrow shelf like this, you can also twist them to give them a little bit more detail. But I put 2 jumper plates in a tile. And the jumpers I stagger like this, and the tile kind of halfway, so you can tell it's 3 individual pieces, like towels or papers or folders or books or something like that. But if you do it this way, you can really see the definition. If I just did a straight stack of them, it'd look like a brick, which you don't want. You want a lot of detail here. You know, some smaller, glass containers and things. And then, we've got the shopkeeper down here. I gave her a little trash bag, maybe some pet waste, and a little bone. So these things were a lot of fun to make, and the details I think turned out awesome. Let's go ahead and take a look at the pets here. As I mentioned, I got the husky here down in this front little playpen, and out here I got a rodent, a rat or something. Trying to cram this into a windshield piece is tricky. I used some really interesting snot technique underneath this. I made this a very difficult build. It doesn't look super difficult, but getting all of this in here is quite challenging. These little 1x1s just kind of sit loose in there, so they can kind of float around like a real hamster or rat or gerbil cage or whatever. Unfortunately, the rodent I had was a rat, so that's who made it into the cage. On this side, I got a green snake there, and I threw a couple little plant elements in there so you can kind of blend in. But I think he turned out pretty good. I just used a clip there to hold him down, and kind of looks like he's going through some rocks, In the back here, let's see if I can get a better view on this. I made a little fish tank, and I've got a couple colorful fish in there. I decided to stick with kind of brighter colored fish, because if you're buying them at a pet store, they're probably more exotic fish. And I got some rocks in the bottom there, a couple little green claws poking up as little plants in the fish tank there. Then over here in this bigger section, I've got some cats up top. This top comes off, it just kind of sits on there. A couple of cats. I made a little platform they can jump up and down on. A little bit of food and water in there. And down below another dog with a little dog bed. So just some added detail. If I were going to put this in a bigger setting, I could do a whole row of these. Kind of like if you go to like a Petland or a larger pet store, you'd have a whole bunch of these little glass containers with pets in them. But for 16 by 16, I think I crammed a lot of detail in here. So pretty happy with how this turned out. Well, I hope you guys liked this video. If you like this video, please like and subscribe, because I'm going to do more just like this in the future. And we will see you next time.